Welcome back, listeners. Sana here, and welcome to the Mindful Living podcast, everyone. I hope you are ready for a truly empowering episode because today we have a dynamo in the house, Charissa Halonen. Charissa is a living proof, listeners, that life's curveballs can become stepping stones to something extraordinary. From navigating toxic relationships to triumphing after a life changing car accident, her story is one of resilience, self discovery, and unapologetic growth. Oh, and did I mention she turned her struggles into fuel for a thriving, fulfilling life? So get comfy because we are diving into mindset shifts, the magic of nutrition, conquering grief, and syncing the mind and body to unlock your best self. This is going to be a roller coaster of inspiration, so you won't want to miss this conversation. So, Carissa, welcome to the show, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you today with us.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Sana.
Great. So, Carissa, starting with the mindset, staying optimistic isn't always easy. It's a natural fight or flight condition that we tend to give up in the toughest moments of our lives. So, what's a mindset hack or a daily ritual that helps you stay grounded and positive no matter what life throws at you?
So I really lean into my discipline because motivation, optimism, all of those things are fleeting. There's moments where life gets really challenging and it really asks you to step up and grow because when we don't get our way, that's when we get to grow a little bit more. So having that routine of I get up and I move my body and I eat well, those things help me work through the points where it's not so optimistic because my body feels good. I've moved around and it makes it easier on my mind to see the purpose behind things because there's always going to be hard things in life. So knowing that that's going to be there allows you that opportunity to be able to see that, the hard things are temporary, just like the good things are temporary, that you don't get overwhelmed by a moment of not being optimistic because there'll be another moment of optimism later.
True. I agree with it. So, before we proceed to further questions, would you like to share a bit about your personal journey, Carissa, with all of our listeners?
Absolutely. My journey has been many chapters and a lot of twists and turns. I started as a competitive dancer when I was in my younger years. And then when I was done high school, I went to university. I ended up gaining quite a bit of weight because I wasn't dealing with life very well. I was emotionally eating. I didn't have healthy, positive mindset at that point. I really struggled with it. I eventually found my way when I was done my massage training. I went and found the gym, found purpose in going to the gym. So then I transferred from being overweight to being healthier and fit. But then I discovered alcohol. And then that caused me to, feel a little bit more confident because I still hadn't quite got the mindset part down. So then I struggled with, using alcohol instead of using food. And it took into my early 30s to actually figure out that it was the mindset behind everything and what I was avoiding with food and what I was avoiding with alcohol and bad relationships was really what I needed to work on. Because in amongst all of that, I had lived different places in the world thinking that that was going to be the fix. I wasn't in Canada, so that had to be the thing it must have been the place. But really, every common denominator was myself. So I had to figure out what I was trying to run from because wherever I went, there I was. So that's really when I realized that if I don't get my mindset correct around things, then the results that I'm looking for will never actually be mine to keep. They just come in and they would leave. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it's been lots of ups and downs, but I think the biggest positive takeaway you have had, the discovery, the self realization was mindset, actually knowing you or yourself. So thank you so much for sharing your personal journey with all of us, Carissa. So moving on, as you have had a very significant physical transformation, nutrition plays such a big role in our energy and mood. Normally when we feel low or there's some kind of tough moment going on, we resort to all kind of cheat meals or cheat treats, lots of sugars or maybe addiction, whatnot. So what's one underrated food or habit that has been a game changer for your overall well-being?
Really just getting enough protein, especially females. We have a tendency to not get enough protein. And protein is your building block. So you need it for your hormones, you need it for your muscles, you need it for your brain to maintain proper functioning, all of those things. And most people won't want to overeat, a pile of ground beef or a piece of chicken or things like that. When you actually are eating a whole protein source, whatever it might be, it fills you up because it's a slower burning fuel. So I always tell my clients, I'm like, if you're feeling like you want to have that cheat or that snack, go for something protein based first. Ask yourself why you're wanting to eat. Because a lot of times, especially if we're reaching for that treat, it's because we want to feel better. We want that dopamine hit. So correlating that there needs to be a separation, that food isn't the source of your happiness. Then, go for a walk or a workout, or even if you're in dire straits, do 10 push-ups. Because even if it's really hard for you, you'll get that dopamine release in your body naturally. And you might have a piece of chocolate after, but you're not going to want to eat 6 chocolate bars after because you're not looking for the same thing from the food. So separating your food for the function of it instead of using it to get happiness, and then really emphasizing protein. No matter, vegetarian sources of protein work just as well as meat-based. So there is really no reason you can't get protein as your main source, depending on whatever you eat. But those are the big takeaways that I've learned is protein first, and then really understanding why am I reaching for that food? And if it's appropriate because I'm hungry, awesome, carry on. If it's because I'm looking for happiness, go do some burpees and then come back and see if I'm still hungry.
Great, great. Makes sense. So, Carissa, of course, there are frameworks. You start from a kind of self-realization, then embracing mindfulness or, realizing or accepting that, yes, I need to change myself. I need to change the way I live every day. But most important step is taking action. Sometimes, especially women, we have so much constraints that we tend to procrastinate while taking action. So, when it comes to fitness journey, starting or taking that action towards the fitness journey can be really overwhelming, especially in the initial days. So, for someone who is feeling stuck or maybe uh, not able to have that consistency, what's the first most manageable step or simple step which they can take to build momentum and stay consistent?
Well, it's always the simple steps. We have to start with simple instead of trying to make it complex and changing everything at the same time. Is you make the agreement. Pretty much everybody can go for a walk. So it's like, okay, today I'm going for a 10-minute walk. So you've set the boundary of a time frame. It's something attainable because it doesn't cost any money to go for a walk. And then you just have to do it, because a lot of times women use the excuse of procrastination or other things or other people's needs ahead of them as an excuse so that they have a reason that they can't do it. But what happens in the end is that when we use other people as an excuse, we don't treat ourselves well, which means we start to deteriorate. And then we can't actually show up for the people that we're responsible for, especially if you're a mom or a partner. we have extra responsibilities. So if you aren't doing well for yourself, then that means it's going to be a bigger breakdown, which it creates a bigger issue for the family, for the partner, for the business, whatever your situation is. So those 10 minutes that you're, okay, I'm putting myself first, because then you're filling in your cup. You're filling up your cup so that you have that capacity to give from your overflow into other people, instead of letting your cup drain, drain, drain. And then there's nothing to give, but everybody still expects. So those 10 minutes of, I'm going to go for a walk every day, that will help build that self-worth by doing that 10 minutes of work. And that actually will fundamentally change somebody's day. And that feeling you get from doing that helps you want to do it the next day too. Because we realize the world did not implode because you took 10 minutes to go for a walk. The house did not become more of a disaster. All of those things that we think are going to happen if we just step away for a second. But you feel better. You feel a little bit more empowered, and you feel like felt really good in my soul. So that worth of yourself is being recognized. And then do that enough times, that allows your consistency to stay because you feel so good.
True, true. I think, the best way for especially working moms or caregivers, especially women, we can find alternatives. For example, if they're not able to get a dedicated time slot, or that time for walk or maybe exercise, maybe when they're going for grocery shopping or something, they can just go by walk instead of taking their car or anything. That could be a great alternative, or a kind of squeezing in workout in amidst their daily chores and anything. So I think really some kind of mindful planning has to be there. So that I totally agree with what you said.
And it's important to know that it's okay to take that. When you're grocery shopping, it's a great time because you're doing that anyhow. But you can also just take 5 extra minutes to saunter the aisles just a little bit more, so that you can have that little bit of time to relax while you're still doing the things you need to do. But just really just like, okay, this is nice. I'll go one more time around the aisle and then I'll carry on.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And also, you have faced, Carissa, incredible challenges, like your car accident. What was a defining moment during your recovery where you realized you could rebuild your life and thrive as well?
When I finally got diagnosed, because it was about 3.5 years after my accident that I got diagnosed with a brain injury, that I was able to start the grieving process, because who I was after the accident was not the person I was before. And I hadn't put that together until I actually got the diagnosis. So then when I realized, this is permanent, I'm either going to let it ruin my life, or I'm going to figure out how to move forward with it. And it took some time. It's still something I navigate today. It's something I had to explain to my 2 stepsons and my husband, because when there's a brain injury in the family, the whole family has a brain injury because you have to act differently. It was just really embracing the fact that this is my life now. How do I make this my best version? Because my brain injury is not going away. It was just, letting go of the potential that I had seen for my life and allowing this to be my new good potential.
Interesting. So, the connection between our mental and physical health, it is so powerful. So can you share a moment where taking care of your body directly transformed your mental outlook, or maybe vice versa?
Well, building the body that I have today has taught me that I can push past limits that I had, because I never thought that I would be able to have a 6-pack and have nice arm muscles and all of that. I never thought that was possible for me. I thought that was just for supermodels in magazines. But when I've been consistent every day and I just don't stop, then it's allowed me to see better things for myself because my body transforms because I haven't stopped. And then I'm like, well, if I'm capable of this, where else am I more capable than I was letting myself to think? So then I started to actually look at, okay, what other goals did I maybe put off to the side because I didn't think that that was something I would be able to do. And I started bringing a few things forward that I'm like, hey, I could actually challenge that, or I've accomplished that and I just didn't realize it. So building yourself physically, no matter what form it is, allows other things to be able to be possible. Because when you show up in a room of people and people see that, you take care of your health and you're looking vibrant, you're feeling good about yourself, then there's more opportunity that comes to you because people are drawn into, oh, what are you doing? They like the energy of you feeling good about yourself.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, Carissa, for listeners who feel stuck or overwhelmed, what's the single most impactful action they can take today to start turning things around? Of course, it's a journey, it's a process, so it will take time. But what should be the first step?
Deciding that they are worth making changes. Right? When you feel overwhelmed, it's a lot of times because you feel lost in who you are now. Life, especially for mamas and ladies in their midlife when everything is changing and kind of crazy again, we feel lost because we're not sure who we are anymore. So allowing yourself the grace that I can make a change. This can be the next chapter in the best part of my life. Not all of my good years have been. And, it's downhill from here. I can make this my best chapter. And yes, everything takes time. So just making that choice that I am worth seeing what more I'm capable of is the single biggest thing. And if it takes 25 years to find that amazing thing, if you work at just 1% better every day, then that's 365% better at the end of the year. So then you just little bit at a time make that really beautiful change because you're worth making a change.
Right, right. Lovely, lovely. That is a really, really empowering conclusion to this conversation. Carissa, thank you so much. And if our listeners, they would like to connect with you and seek more life-changing tips, resources, and inspiration like this, how they can do that?
So I'm most active on Instagram at the.relentless.couple. And for your listeners, if they DM me mindful living and follow me on Instagram, I will happily send them a free habit tracker so that they can start their own habit tracking to make changes in their lives today. As a thank you for being on your show, I'll happily give that to your listeners.
Lovely, lovely. We'll have all the details mentioned in the show notes. And Carissa, thank you so much for this incredible conversation and sharing your story with us, which actually proves that no matter how tough life gets, you can turn all those challenges into triumphs or stepping stones for the success with the right mindset, tools, and a little bit of grit and resilience. So thank you so much.
A pleasure. Thank you for sharing your time with me today and allowing me to share my story.
Great, great. And listeners, feeling fired up to take charge? I bet you are feeling that. So don't forget to check out Carissa's website and connect with her on Instagram. You can refer the show notes along with this episode for the gift. And remember that life is all about progress, not perfection. Take it one mindful step at a time, and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Until next time, keep living mindfully, keep chasing your dreams, and as always, keep shining. Thank you.